Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I'm Tabitha Brown, and this is my husband.
I'm Chance, what's up?
Bring the beat in.
Fridays with Tab and Chance. Fridays with Tab and Chance. Yeah, you can tell we both a little tired. That thing dropped off. That thing said,
I ain't even do the robot today.
Chance.
You be like him and I don't do
Yeah,
the
so you good. You right.
So
We can go ahead and get into it.
Well, I'm under the influence of medication, so I'm a little tired today. I don't know what chances
you need to clarify that. You just can't leave that out there for people to speculate.
Well,
talking about I'm under the influence. You know, you gonna let people fill in the blank. They gonna be like, Auntie Tab doing crack.
I had dental surgery yet again, which a lot of people know, and I also have issues happening with my hip. Under a little pain management right now, so I'm a little sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better.
So anywho, what's today's topic, babe?
I think Tiff was talking about somebody wanted to know if we have ever considered divorce.
Oh.
And it was layered, but the topic is divorce.
The topic is divorce. I feel like we have answered this before once, but the answer to the question is absolutely.
I've never wanted to divorce you.
100%. Tell him again, Blackie. Absolutely. That's how I felt when I thought about it. I was growling in my spirit too, Blackie. The truth is absolutely. I think if anybody has been married longer than, what would you think?
If you've been married longer than 6 months, if you was in your first, most
depending.
of us.
Yeah, sometimes right after you get married, you be like, wait, did I make the right decision?
Those are some of the hardest, to me, the hardest years is the ones right after the I do.
Especially if you're young and you don't know yourself. I think that's what we had, a lot of the issues that we had. But I think when people are seasoned in their life, right, and they have a sense of self and know who they are before they get married, then that first year probably isn't the toughest. I think that's when you're kind of in the honeymoon phase. And then after that phase is over, the reality starts setting in. You're like, oh wait, I'm a life with this person forever. Mm-hmm. But I do think everyone has had a moment where they consider like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know now.
Maybe I ain't cut out for this.
Maybe we ain't supposed to do forever, ever.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I think that it's a healthy thought, right? If you recognize it and you're honest about it. I think I had talked to Tip about this before. It was I think Ruby D was the interview that I watched, or it was a quote or something. Her and Ozzy were married, I think like 70 years, over 60 some years. And someone was asking her, like, have y'all ever, was divorce ever a thought? And her response was, absolutely. And the way that it never happened is because neither of us wanted it at the same time. And that always kind of like stuck in my head, because I know we've had issues where one of us felt like this ain't gonna work no more. And the other one of us is like, no, we can get through this, right? I think if one of you is still willing to fight, it kind of gives a little bit of light to the person who might be contemplating divorce, right? But also know that sometimes that ain't the case, right? Sometimes it only takes that one person to be like, no, I'm out. I can't do it no more.
Mm-hmm. By no means do you need two people to be in the same. I think most times one person wants to be in it and one person doesn't. On those better times, from what I've heard, is when both people want it. But I think that we have been on the same page in terms of divorce. Well, I think it's been at least one time that I can recall where we was both like, yeah, it might be time to pull the cord on this one. But I think what actually prevented it or saved us was being capable of doing it.
Right.
And now,
not being able to afford it.
Not being able to afford it. And in time, in that time, things kind of worked itself out. You got to see.
We were forced to make it work.
Yeah, you were forced.
In a way, right? Thank God. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's like you.
There have definitely been those times. I remember going online and looking up like legal separation and doing like paperwork and trying to like file it, and then it got to the thing where you had to put your credit card in there to file the thing. I said, yeah. We're gonna probably have to just hold out on this.
We're gonna see what happened.
Let me sleep on this, because the way the card is set up right now, it ain't gonna go through.
And in the midst of all of that,
yeah,
God worked things out. You end up having a conversation, and then you look back on it and be like, I can't believe. And then a sense of shame. You feel bad. I know at least with me, it's like, man, I was about to toss all this away over a temporary thing. You know what I mean? But we've both been there, and from the village that we've built, and family that we have, it's very common. It's very common. And
when the couples are being honest.
Yeah. When you're being transparent and not out here, and that's one of the things that I think prevents those thoughts, those arguments from continuously happening, is because now you've learned to be transparent, and you can get ahead of it. Yeah, you got people that you can trust in your inner circle. It's super important that you have a village and a circle of people who are like-minded and that can tell you before you get to the point of putting that credit card in, bro, you tripping.
You having a moment.
Hey, you having a moment. And they can call you on your stuff without you getting offended. That village is super important.
Yeah.
Not saying go out here and share all your personal life and everything, but you need to have people, especially you need to have other married people. And you know what? It helps to have an occasional unmarried person too around, because I got a friend who, he in them streets, but he cherishes our marriage in a way that I did not know, and he has oftentimes been the person to say, you tripping, and point out all of the great things in our marriage that come from marriage, and quickly get me back on course. So it's just.
I think also having friends who are divorced.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of in the vein where he lies. He's not divorced, but he has had several failed, and he desires to be married now.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying like that's a great friend. That's the single friend who desires, but also the divorced friend who maybe wishes they could have done something differently. Mm-hmm. They learn something completely different, and have something useful to offer. When it comes to your marriage or, advice. Now, this is in no way are we saying we don't agree with divorce. I 100% agree with divorce, right? And then some people be like, the Bible said,
Hey, that made me think of one of our other friends. Boy,
stay focused, baby.
Hey, best thing that could have happened, boy.
Honey, divorce be saving lives. Let me tell you that, okay? I wholeheartedly, I believe in it. Some folk get married and they should have only had a date. Mm-hmm. Some folk get married, they should have only had children.
Yeah.
Y'all was meant to just bring life into the world. Honey, I know people gonna be like, but Tab, you a Christian. I believe in divorce.
Yeah.
I believe it, especially if you can't serve each other, if you can't literally be in your relationship together, and it does not serve you well, if it does not uplift you, if you don't feel loved,
if it does not serve your kids,
if it don't serve your family, your unit, your well-being, baby, get out of there. Okay, like I believe in marriage, but I absolutely believe in divorce. You know, marriage is not for everybody, baby. It's hard. Like what Kevin Melissa said, marriage be hard.
Hard.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But it absolutely can get tough. It can wear on you. There is a lot that goes into lifing with somebody forever, right? You know, just in sharing just now, right? I had to have my dental surgery. I'm dealing with my hip. I'm also going through early menopause. I'm a whole mess right now. Child, my daughter that moved out of the state. It has affected me mentally. I have been a whole mess. I'm a whole different woman. He having to shape shift, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I know it. My bad. But some people ain't cut out for that. Some people not cut out for the changes, right? Some people they want you to stay one way or no way. If you are not okay with change, baby, you not okay with marriage.
That's right.
If change is not something that you like, baby, don't you marriage ain't for you. Honey, you are a good divorce candidate, okay?
Yeah.
This is when divorce is your friend. It's a lot of work. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for our marriage and for our union. But it's a lot that I've had to learn even about myself in our marriage. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's like, if you ask most married people, right, or successful married people, I think that they're gonna say, where and at what point did you learn the most about yourself? It's gonna be when you in marriage.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in marriage. It is one of those eye-opening moments every day where you like,
Whew. You learn to be selfless. But you also have to learn to be selfish.
That's right. Yep.
You learn to be patient. You also have to learn not to be patient.
Balance.
Right. I mean,
that's
grace.
You gotta learn
when
how to
to give
things.
it and when to be like, hey, no. Right? You also got to learn to be outspoken.
And you gotta learn to be quiet.
And you got to learn to be quiet.
Even when you write. If you write.
That was me.
If you write, sometimes you still gotta learn how to say, whew. I'm gonna let her live on this one. I'm gonna take this one on the chin.
Blackie Brown.
You know.
Cut that out.
And that's just a part of it. You know, I remember one of the speaking engagements I did where the one guy had a problem with that when I was saying about being, you want to be happy or do you want to be right?
Oh, remember? Yeah, he wasn't hearing or understanding.
All he heard was compromise.
Yeah.
And it was bothersome for him, and I think the crowd pretty much said what we said.
But he also was not married.
Yep, and that's what the crowd. What it ended with was, say, you ain't married, and you may not be fit for marriage if you think it's always gonna be, if you right, you're gonna hear that you was right, and it's gonna turn out right.
Yeah,
that's not what it's about.
Marriage is not. Also, it ain't one way. You know, you also are having to adjust to a whole nother human who is also changing every day while you're changing. And there are people who wake up. Listen, I got a cousin who was married with children, and just one day his wife woke up and said, I don't want to do this no more. What you mean you don't want to do it no more? I don't want to do it no more. And left. The kids and him, right? So you gotta be mentally ready for anything. And you also got to ask yourself, how much am I willing to endure in this relationship? And it's also okay if you get to a place where you say, I can't do it no more. Honesty can lead to divorce, but honesty can also lead to a beautiful marriage, a beautiful union. But baby, it's still gonna be a lot of work. It's still a lot of work.
Every day.
Every day. But we are proof that it does work with work, right? It has not been easy, but we are 20 years married, 25 together. We've been together longer, more than half of our life, right? So we're proof that it does work. Would we suggest that people do it our way? Probably not.
We cross that path we cross that path right there so often, and I'm always waiting for that facial expression when people, especially young people, when they hear us say that.
Because I just be wanting people to get to know who they are, right? So that you bring less complication into your marriage. If you go into marriage at least having a good sense of self, like at least knowing who you are a little bit and what you desire, you can be a better partner because you also know how to be good to yourself. But when you go in and your only thought is loving the other person and it doesn't matter about you yet because you haven't taken time for you, you're going to eventually wake up one day and the things that you thought that you enjoyed about that person, you're going to be like, I don't really like that as you start to discover who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that was us. We were young. We didn't know who we was. Right? I mean, it's still now at 44 years old, days that we wake up and it's kind of like, I don't really like that.
But see, in the years, you learn how to say that too.
Exactly.
That's what she's talking about. You learn how to say that in a loving way. You learn how to say, and when you're young, you don't know how. You either harbor it, don't say anything and build resentment, or it's an outburst with the wrong kind of energy on it. But at 44, you know how to say, hey, I know I ain't never told you this, but I don't like that no more. I don't like that.
And maybe not at 44, maybe after 20 years.
Yeah. Say, hey, but I know it's not your fault. Tab has told me that in recent. I kind of get tickled at how she say it in a loving way. I used to like that. I don't like that no more. And I'm kind of like,
with love.
I don't know how to feel. I've been doing this for 20 years, woman.
Well, I don't like it no more, though.
I don't like it no more. Let's try something else. Anything you don't like? And I'm like, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You know?
And hey, I wouldn't change that. Hey, look, in the midst of it, it's kind of like, what you mean you don't like it? But then afterwards, you kind of find peace in it, where it's like, man, this is marriage. This is what we have grown, and then you reflect on those times where it was hard, and you're like, man, this is where we at. We can have those kind of sensitive conversations, and where it used to be a blow up, hey, I don't talk to you for 2 weeks argument.
Yeah. Don't even put your foot on the side of the bed.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, but staying on topic, divorce. Have we thought about it? Absolutely. Do we believe in it? Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't think it should be the first thing you should lean towards, and you should be willing to fight for your marriage. I do say to those that who come to me about relationships or about thinking about divorce. I have had a few friends. I always ask them, like, hey, have you done everything? In all honesty, do you feel like, and usually it comes down to, the answer is no. Because in marriage, you compromise so much, You start to feel like you shouldn't have to with certain things because you've given so much, so you don't want to go an extra. You ain't gonna go the extra mile. You don't even want to go an extra inch. You don't even want. No, I ain't doing that no more. I'm always the one. I'm always the one. It's always me. I'm always. It's all. So you be feeling. So I usually try to get them to see. Like, okay, then you ain't did everything. You haven't done everything. You cannot do what they're asking you to do, but you can also go and, with love, explain why you don't want to do it. You're explaining it to me with venom, then go explain it to your partner. Try to figure out a way. You've known them, or you should know them well enough to know how to speak to them in love and say it without and remove your feelings. But I'm always hurt by the suggestion of divorce. I believe in marriage. I didn't when me and Tab first started out, but after everything that has happened in our lives, and watching what it has done for my kids, watching the impact that it has had on my mom, who was never married, watching the impact that it has had just for people that I have known that they don't, there's literally people who, nobody in their family has ever been married.
Yeah.
But to see what my marriage and me withstanding and us withstanding the storm has done, what it has done for, others outside, and not to even mention what I honestly feel that we are being blessed with as a result of our marriage. God's blessing because of our marriage, because of our bond. I'm a believer in marriage. I'm always, even on the financial, the mental, the spiritual, I always go back and give credit to, to God first, but then secondly to my marriage, for keeping me disciplined, for keeping me sane, for keeping me, healthy and covered, and it's my marriage that has done that. So I'm an advocate for marriage, but I do understand those that need to get a divorce. And yes, we have considered it. Not as a recent, been a long, long time ago.
We've been hanging on in there for the last good 7, 8. Maybe last 10 been all right.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, we've been good.
I ain't thought about it. I ain't liked you in some of them days, but I
ain't liked you on many days.
Yeah,
but what you said was so good, babe. That was good. And it's also, I think it's a good reminder to someone that divorce is not your escape.
Mm-mm.
Don't allow divorce to be your go-to every time an argument happens, every time there's confrontation, every time that you need to have an uncomfortable conversation. Don't let divorce be your thing that you run to. Some stuff you're going to have to work out in your marriage. And if you, like he said, if you've tried it all and it still is like, this not working, and divorce is your only option, then okay. But don't let that be the thing you run to first before you have tried to work out the things in your marriage, right? Before you've done the work. Don't let it be your excuse, like, man, because a lot of people these days, they just be getting married because they know that, they can also get a divorce. Like, that shouldn't be why we get married. Divorce is there if needed. But we should be getting married because we are willing to partner with someone for the rest of our life and give ourselves to them and vice versa. Like, submit to them, support them, like, become one with them. And if you don't feel that you can do that, then I urge you to reconsider marriage in your life until you're ready to do that.
And there's nothing wrong with you.
And nothing is wrong with it. Marriage is also not for everybody. There's some people who just don't even desire to be married. Some people desire to have partnership, but they don't desire to be married. And that's all, that's all right too. That's your business, honey. If that's how you want to live your life, baby, you do that. But for those who are considering marriage, make sure you consider everything, but don't consider it thinking, well, if it don't work out, I can just get a divorce. Don't go into it with that frame of mind.
I got nothing else, baby.
The Browns approve this message. That's it?
That's it for me.
Well, very good. Until the next time, listen, y'all be good in there. Hang on in there. Fight for it. And honey, if you coming up and y'all both battered and bruised and y'all done went through it all and you still got the same feeling, baby, y'all go on and sign that paperwork and go about y'all business. And have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go mess it up nobody else's here. We love y'all. God bless y'all. Praying for all of y'all. All right? It's going to be all right. And it's okay if it didn't go your way. Sometimes divorce is your way. We'll see y'all next time. Love y'all. Bye. Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget to click here for more episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Very good.